Hello, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's Thematically Speaking, where we speak to people in and around the theme park community. And today, our first guest is someone who's back from the past to hopefully beat his quiz score later on. It's David Blythe. How are you doing, David?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I am hoping to beat that quiz score.
Do you blame it on Dan Marks?
We'll see what happens. But
And the second guest is someone totally new. It is Jamie. How you doing, Jamie?
Hello, how are we? Not too bad, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. So,
Yep.
I don't know if we want to go straight into Blackpool, or you want to tell me a bit about yourself before we go into it.
Well, I think you've all seen me a few weeks back, but I went to Blackpool about a month ago last. But I go to other parks around the UK and around Europe. Some of them are quite a distance away, travel-wise, even in the UK. But yeah.
Kronos Dan says hello. That's Sheldrake in the comments there.
Hello.
How about you, Jamie? Do you want to introduce a bit about yourself before we get into the discussion?
Yeah, of course. So, obviously, been a big theme park enthusiast for many years, and started getting back into YouTube again and all that kind of stuff. And it's just great to get involved and show my opinions on everything. It's just great to get involved again. So, just when I can, of course. Brilliant. I'm always up for good old bit of gossip about Pleasure Beach, whatever, just the gossip. So yeah, but it's good. That's good. Nice, something different. And
it's good to have you on.
Thank you.
So if we start, it's got to be the big one. Now, I'll ask David first. Do you remember the first time you went on the big one?
Yeah, it's not too many years ago, to be honest, because Pleasure Beach was one of those parks that sort of was tucked away in the northwest, and I'd been to everything sort of on the east and round the south through living up in the north before. And I'd sort of been to everywhere in the south, and Blackpool was something I hadn't been to till, it was late, well, in the last decade. So it was a pretty recent place to me.
So were you, do you remember the first time you saw the big one in person? Were you intimidated?
I thought it was quite big. I mean, yeah, it's the size of it. And I think when you see the trains coming around and there's such small carriages, they're not like, you never see, so there's no big lap bar restraints.
The lap bars, yeah. The lap bars.
And
what did you think about that when you got it?
Oh, just, different. And then you're going up that hill, and of course you've got that drop at the top, and it's a very steep drop. So, yeah, that's, and it carries on and on up that hill, doesn't it?
So, I am starting to get questions through, but first I'll ask Jamie the same thing. Do you remember the first time you went on the big one?
I certainly do. It's actually not that long ago. I'm quite new to Pleasure Beach. It's 2017 I first actually went ever. And yeah, first time doing the big one. And it was very interesting to say the least, because it's obviously, as you say, they were just lap bars, and on such a coaster at that height, it's like, wow. I mean, I've done like the ones in like America. Well, actually, no, America was more recent, but like this was my first massive hyper coaster kind of thing, if you will. And it was amazing. I loved it, but because it's getting on a bit, it was quite rough, and I felt, oh no, actually, it's just a lap bar and a seat bar. It makes you feel like, oh my god, I'm actually going to come out the seat here. But fantastic, and ever since then, I've been coming here 2-3 times every year. I love it.
Oh right, that often.
Yeah. So yeah, season pass and everything. Yeah, so fantastic place, and I've been wanting to go for years, but I've just finally been able to do it. It's great and love it.
So Dan was saying Valhalla is testing, but when do we think it will reopen? David, have you got any inkling on that?
If I'm honest, when I went to Pleasure Beach last month and I watched some videos on some channels, I sort of was toying with the idea that it might not open this year. Because I didn't see much progress in the previous sort of 2 visits to make me think that it was going to open. However, if the rumours are true, and I've seen it from a couple of sources, I'm hopeful it might open for the summer holidays. And I think that would be good for Pleasure Beach if it did, because it'll attract people in, hopefully.
These sources you have, are any of them connected to the park itself, or is this all kind of
No, they don't work
Speculation.
there. So they say they've seen it testing, from what I've read. So that's hopeful, but it's a quite difficult ride to see testing. So it'd be
Well, that's
interesting.
what I thought.
Yeah.
I feel that's like saying I saw dual testing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see or hear where perhaps the information's coming from, or maybe in the next few weeks, because this information's pretty recent, to be honest. So.
What about you,
Yeah.
Jamie? When was your last trip, Jamie? Was that recent?
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was a few months ago, I think.
Opening weekend, JB?
Yeah, it was around opening, I think. Yeah. So several months now, but yeah, so definitely raring to go again. Hopefully going again soon, about a couple of months' time, which would be nice. Get back out there, and I'm just saying, same with you, David. I think it'll open kind of around some holidays time. Because you'd have thought that would be the best time to open a really nice, refreshing water ride, to be honest. But
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I don't really know, but if anything, I would say around summer holidays. But yeah.
Do you think they would be tempted to open it too soon because of the weather?
Mm.
Do you think they'd be tempted to?
Make sure
Well, this debate was going round a few months ago. Would you rather it be fully finished and open, or would you have it half done and open? Now, personally, I think it needs to be fully finished before it opens. But I guess from a business point of view, they might be quite eager to get it open. But you're going to spoil it, I think, if you try it and when it's half done. You know.
Yeah. Want to make a good job of it, don't you? So it'd be worth the wait.
Yeah.
Stacey's asked, was the big one your first ever ride? Which I don't think it was for either of you, but do you remember your first ride, either of you?
But ever, not Blackpool, just anything.
Yeah, just anything, yeah.
I think it would have been the Corkscrew and Rita at Alton Towers in 2006.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first.
That brief time when they were both there together. Well, they were there for a few years together, weren't they? But yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it would have been rides at Pleasure Island at Cleethorpes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some kiddie coasters before that, but the first bigger rides were there.
Oh, Nikki H says, this is quite intense. What are your hopes and fears for the new Valhalla?
I think I just hope the fire is as spectacular as it is before, and because the fire is like my favourite thing of the whole ride.
I still remember the first time I rode that, and I wasn't expecting the fire. I didn't know.
Me neither. I was like, wow, okay.
Just feel the heat from it.
Yeah. So that'd be my personal hope. And fears, as I say, well, kind of same. I just hope they haven't taken anything away as a replacement, for refurbishing a building or something. As a result, I don't know. But I just hope they've not gotten rid of effects that just fans love.
Do you think they'd do much to the layout?
No,
I don't. No,
I thought the layout probably stayed the same. To be honest, I'd probably say the layout's the same, but I don't know. There's rumours that the audio's new. I believe there's new audio.
Yeah,
I heard rumours of that. Yeah.
Is that going to be IMA
I believe it's the person. The Icon.
Same
music.
people that do Big One and Icon. I've forgotten
That's what
the names now.
What about you, David? Have you got hopes and fears? That seems like a pretty big question.
I think, to be honest, it needed something doing to it. So I hope it's an improvement to what it was, because it was on its last legs. But and I hope you still get wet. But I think it was getting ridiculously wet before. So I'm just hopeful you still get wet, but it's not. But I hope it's not ridiculously wet like it was. I think it needs toning down slightly, but not too much, so it spoils it. That's one of my worries. But and the theming again, I think the theming could. I think I hope they don't spoil that or leave gaps in the ride like I've seen on other dark rides in the past.
Dan said, "It looks like he's aimed this question at me, but do you think the upcoming strikes, the rail strikes, will do massive hits on park attendances?" Now, I'm not sure what the days are, because I heard it was a Tuesday or Thursday, and then
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Oh, it's on a Saturday as well, right? I thought they were.
Yeah, and there'll be no train service at all to Blackpool, none at all. So.
Well, yeah, on the Saturday, definitely then.
I do think it will hit attendance, but I think people hopefully it'll just go the week after. But when businesses are struggling at the moment, like due to high inflation, high entry prices, etc., it's not going to do them any favours, put it that way.
Talking about the trains quickly, or transport, did you hear on the news this week, or the end of last week it might have been, but Boris was talking about making flights to Blackpool available again. He wanted the airport to open up to internal flights.
Yeah, I have seen that on Facebook.
So I know you can fly abroad from Blackpool Airport, but they don't do internal flights, do they, at the moment?
Yeah, but I mean, you could fly from there I don't think they're open for flights at the moment. But I don't know. I just don't think with Liverpool Airport and Manchester that nearby, I just don't believe.
I suppose, yeah.
There'd be enough demand. I can see.
Want to be really lazy.
Yeah, I can see the idea, but I'm not convinced there'll be the demand. To be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
I might be wrong.
The emission. We talked about this before we came on air quickly, me and David, about the emission prices. I don't know what are the prices like at the moment for a pass. Have you got an annual pass, David?
Yeah. Well, it was 95 quid or something like that, I believe. Or I can't remember the exact price, but it goes up.
System.
Yeah, it goes up as time goes on. So if you buy it early on, that's the price, but it goes up quite a lot. But the entry price for a day ticket, she's just took a £5 off if you book so many days in advance.
Okay, yeah.
So, but she'd increased. It was over 40 quid per entry. But I think it's the amount it went up that people was making a fuss about. But I'm guessing when you think of inflation and the cost of electric, gas, oil, the rest of it, naturally places will have to put the cost up. But you've also got to consider if you put them up too much, you'll also scare people off. It's a bit of a vicious circle, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
And Dan's right about the music there.
When you say the price so is the season pass only for the year you buy it on?
Yeah.
So it's not like a year. You don't get it for a whole year from when you buy it.
No, it starts in February and ends at the end of the season.
Do they have different tier structures as well for that, like Merlin do, or is it just one straight?
No, just one. But but if you buy it early as an early bird price for 90 quid or whatever it was, can't remember the exact figure, but around that mark. Over time, they put the price up. So if I think they'd stopped selling passes, although I'm not sure. I did read that they might have put a few back on sale, but the price was nearly double. It wasn't quite double, but yeah.
So Valhalla's taken up most of the conversation today. Do you think they could have different wet settings as seen in parks like Europa Park?
Ooh, that would be interesting. I'm not sure.
It's an interesting question.
I don't know if you get much wetter than it gets right now, to be fair.
We can see how we could adjust it. Very interesting. I'd like to see that.
I don't think Amanda will want to make it that complicated, to be honest.
I can see the ride-up switching it when they see some school children go on. Crank that up.
Yeah.
Oh, what if they could change the flame settings?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Peace is asking when we think Valhalla will open. We said it might open later this year. We've already answered that slightly earlier. But yeah. I'm hoping they spend a lot more time on it, like David said. Because I think if they rush it, it's just going to ruin the legacy of that ride.
That's worrying.
We wait so long for it as well. Don't have it rushed.
Oh, Enzo.
Have you ridden Enzo, David?
I have, actually. But
was it on your own?
Yeah, it was. Before I met the group, because I knew it was going to be better on my own, because it spins a bit more. But to be honest, it's not worth the price. It was all right, but
how much was it about? Was it 12 or 15?
15 quid it is. So it's not worth the price. And I did 2 front row rides on Icon the day after, and I enjoyed them more.
There you go.
I mean, I get the idea, but I just think the cost of it's ridiculous, to be honest.
Is it a separate queue? So at least you're not waiting as long?
Yeah, they've changed the entrance. There's now 3 entrances, one for fast track, one for one where you reserve your ride on Enzo, so it's tight. It's literally reserve and ride on the app or on the website, and then
you don't have to queue very long.
it's a virtual queue, so you go when the time is down to 0 or near 0, and you get straight on. So that perspective of it's quite good. But
have you ridden Enzo, Jamie, or not?
I have not. No.
Are you tempted?
I'm hearing. Well, it's one of those where I just do it once, just to say I've done it. But I don't know. I don't know because I'm waiting to hear like people's reviews of it, and it's a tough one. I might still do it just to say I've done it.
Has David sold you on his review?
Not sure. No, it's good to be honest. Good to be honest, but
it's good to try once. It's good to try once, but I'm not planning to ride it again unless they remove the charge. And like any ride, I don't think you can properly compare it after one ride. But I'm not willing to pay £15 again to give it a try. So,
no, that's fair
did you see many? Were there a lot of trains when no one was on it?
Oh yeah, I've seen many empty trains going round, and I've noticed
just seems
on
like
weekdays,
a complete waste of.
Yeah. Bearing in mind the park wasn't that busy, and this is another thing about the prices and that maybe it's putting people off, or the inflation rate at the moment. The atmosphere isn't as good when there's less people there. So when you see it so quiet, there's just no atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially on the Monday when I went.
So is Grand National the best woody in the country?
Ooh. See, this is the thing. I work on Wicker Man, so this is a bit of a tough one to say.
I think it's got character with the racing.
It has. It's got character with just how ancient in a good way that it is, and it's a classic woody. You can't really beat it. You know what I mean. I'd say it's one of them. It's definitely one of my favourites. But yeah,
is it better than Wicker Man?
It's about the same. It's tough.
He's not allowed to say.
No. Well, I mean, I like Grand National for the fact it's old. It's a classic, and I think they've painted the station well. They've tried to do a bit of the track, although it's as rough as anything still. Personally, if it was any other ride that was a lot newer, I'd say it was way too rough. I accept it's rough because of its age, and it's a classic. So, but if it was a new modern ride and it was that rough, I wouldn't go on it. So and I would say that I prefer the Big Dipper than Grand National, but I can see the historic value of the Grand National, so I can understand why people do like it. And I've said numerous times, if you take those rides, any of those rides out of Pleasure Beach, I think we'll spoil Pleasure Beach, because I think there's very much a nostalgia factor about Pleasure Beach.
I think they spoiled Pleasure Beach a bit when they got rid of the mouse.
I know, yeah.
That was a shame. Yeah.
That's probably my favourite ride there at that time, which it's so crazy in such a small space.
It was. That's so dangerous. But it was great fun.
I'm not sure if the bigger seats have been removed. Coastal Chicken asks, adding the Enzo seats meant they've removed the seats for bigger rides. Are the Enzo seats on more than one train, David?
Only on one train. So if there's a 3-train operation, or 2-train operation, the answer to that's no. And on the weekday, they don't tend to run Enzo when the park's quiet.
Oh, so they take that train off completely?
Yeah. Not saying they do that every day, but there are days in the week when it's not run at all.
Oh, you've got some support there, Jamie.
Yeah, bring it in.
Would you say, I know it can bring tourists in, but would you say the location is sometimes a hindrance for Pleasure Beach? Because it kind of gives it, I would say, knowing it's a theme park, but probably before I became a big enthusiast many years ago, I probably thought that's just a seaside amusement park. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, I do get that. I think yes and no. I mean, Towers is sort of so out of the way, but you're only going to go to the theme park. There's not a lot else around there other than countryside and that. Where Blackpool, I guess, has got a lot of other things going for it, and it is often nice to visit the other attractions as well. But I guess It's swings and roundabouts, to be honest, I think.
What's your favourite Blackpool attraction outside of the Pleasure Beach?
I'd say the tower, to be honest.
I'd say the tower as well. Yeah. The
Um,
dungeon's a good one. I don't know.
yeah.
The tower, I'd say. Yeah.
I thought I didn't know if you were tempted to say Passage del Terror. Have you done that?
Oh, that's actually a fair point. Ooh.
Well, I've
I
not
do
done
like-
it yet, so I keep
Is
saying
it the
I
kind
will,
of thing you
so-
would do or not?
I would do it, yeah. I just find I don't like to do everything in one visit, so I don't get round to it because I'm doing other things or meeting people or whatever. But yeah, it is something that's on my list.
So, Jamie, what's the best Defunct ride at Pleasure Beach?
Oh.
I feel like we've already said mine.
That I've done, do you think, or
Just in general, in your opinion,
Yeah.
although it probably will be one you've done, I would assume.
Yeah, probably the mouse. But I know there
Did you
are
ever
so
go
many
in
more.
Trauma Towers?
No, I never did that. No, I was in like 2017. They started the facade up, but I think the ride had been shut for a long time. But no. I knew about it, but no, never did.
How about you, David? What's your favourite Defunct ride in Pleasure Beach?
I think looking around Pleasure Beach and all the fuss that the wild mouse generated when it closed, and
Did you ever go on it?
Probably no, I haven't been on it,
Oh.
but I just know from the fuss that was generated by it and watching videos and stuff, how it how popular it was and how unusual it was compared to any other sort of form of wild mouse that you see.
I will say one thing. You know, when Nickelodeon Land opened that section.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if your first trip was probably years after that, but I remember when it opened, and the first time I went to the park after it opened, and I saw the Krusty Krab facade, and at first I thought, oh, this is really cool. They've made a restaurant based on it, and I walked around, and it was just a ride shaped like it, and I thought that was such a wasted opportunity. Do you think they should have had the Krusty Krab restaurant?
I mean, it
would have been different, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was, and then I walked around because you can see the back of it from like that. Well, not the bridge, but that ramp way up. And then I walked down and into the area, and I walked around. I'm like, oh, it's just some random kids ride.
Yeah.
I thought they actually made the restaurant. I wanted to go in and see it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to have seen that.
Constance says, do you think they will redo the entrance of Pleasure Beach?
Ooh.
And I'm going to ask, would you like it if they ever reopened Noah's Ark?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think
a massive anniversary.
Yeah, I think the entrance can cause a lot of problems, and I think I do often think, would it be better if it was moved? But I don't think you can get rid of the Noah's Ark and it's too historic, and there's that sort of factor about it that I just think there's something good about the Noah's Ark. And it's so old.
They used to have a second entrance, but that was when it was free to enter, and I think they had a lot of vandalism and problems. That's why they'd change.
I do think that entrance causes a lot of congestion, and getting in sometimes, if it's busy, can be quite difficult. But it's a tough one, to be honest.
Space Invader. I never got to go on Space Invader.
Oh, no, same.
Stacey says, why do you guys like... I'm assuming that's Alton Towers.
It's got to be,
We can talk about Alton Towers for a second. But I don't know if this is going to be conflict of interest for Jamie because he works there.
Oh, it's all right. I don't mind for a minute. Well, it was the construction of the Smiler that got me into it, like in 2012. So on all these forums and all that, and I used to go on school trips and all that kind of stuff, and where I wasn't really like an enthusiast. But as soon as I started following the Smiler construction, I thought, oh, this new coaster building, I might just see how they're doing, and then I eventually just loved theme parks from that, and so that's why I like Alton Towers, and that's why I eventually started working there, and yeah, that's what I came to.
Do you remember your first ride on the Smiler?
I certainly do, yes. I really do. I waited in that single rider queue for like 2 hours.
Did you race down there at the start of the day, like a lot of us did?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. No, but I started doing that as time went on when I got a bit older. But yeah, it was about a week after it opened, and the queue was like crazy.
Yeah, I think with Alton Towers, it's location. I think it's just a really nice setting. Obviously with some nice rides as well, but I think the setting's part of it for me that makes it what it is.
Oh yeah. Unlike any
What's your favourite Defunct ride from Alton Towers? Quickly, before we go back to Pleasure Beach.
Oh, oh no, I've gone for ages.
Trying to think of Defunct rides now.
That's a good question.
I mean, I never, obviously, a lot I didn't do, but it closed when I was young. But Thunderlooper looked like it was a great ride. That looks like.
Yeah, I think that's in Brazil now, but I would have liked to have gone on that.
Yeah,
but I think the height restrictions they were getting at the time from the ropers, those damn ropers, complaining all the time. Are they still alive? I've not heard of them for a while. They always used to complain about on towers.
Still, but we haven't heard them in ages.
Oh, Jerry's here. Jerry's watching. Hello, Jerry.
Oh, hello.
No.
Oh, good man.
Hello.
I mean, Taylor says, I feel like I've fallen out of love with Blackpool Pleasure Beach this season. The high prices, lack of atmosphere, and poor staff have meant I've barely visited despite having a season pass. I've not been to Blackpool this year yet.
Yeah.
So
I've not noticed the
just
staff,
in case there's any staff watching, that's not my opinion. But
I've not noticed anything from the staff myself. Lack of atmosphere, I totally agree. When it's dead, there's no atmosphere, and I've said that to a few people.
That's true.
Which I think the high prices, and the fact that inflation's high and cost of living, I think that's sort of not helping in that sense.
When there's hardly anyone there, can you hear the laughing man from quite far away? You know, the one that's near the near Revolution.
You probably can. But
I'm guessing so. Yeah.
Because you went on a Monday, David. I was just wondering.
Oh, it was like a ghost town. It was real. Yeah, you could hear. Yeah.
The coaster capturers, Icon versus Big One.
Ooh, this has always been a tough one.
I would say Big One, but that's I think because again it's the nostalgia factor. I see the Big One when I go to Blackpool. I think it's as iconic as the tower, the way it looks. When it's lit up at night,
well outside the park.
Yeah, when it's lit up at night on the illuminations, all that. I just think it's the whole atmosphere thing with the Big One. I like the music to it. I do like.
Do you think Icon stands out because it's too good? Like, it still looks quite new still compared to some of their other rides. Do you think it doesnn't fit?
I think it does fit, but I think the other problem is a lot of people that go to Blackpool don't even know about Icon. When you hear stories that the hotel owners don't know what it is, yet the Big One is just so well known. But I get what you say. It is quite new, and although I do think they've spent money on sort of tidying up the other rides. I mean, you look at Grand National and that, and they've tidied up the Big One and they've put new track sections in. Although that new track section this year does seem quite jerky.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you go to you.
I was just going to say, I think I have to agree, David. It is a tough one. I do love Icon and being in a Mac coaster and all that, but as I say, it's just so iconic, the Big One. And it's so much more intense, and it gets me in a good way. It's just as Icon, it's brilliant, but it's just it's like a bit too smooth. I don't know. It's a tough one, but I still love it. But it's
Would you say it feels like a theme park ride in what many people still consider a seaside amusement park? It's almost like too good quality.
A theme park ride with
it's a bit odd.
It's the opposite of the retro squad.
No theming.
So, what do you think about the food at Blackpool Pleasure Beach?
I've been to a few other places.
Or is it always fish and chips for you?
No, well, if it was, it wouldn't probably be in the park. But Coasters is quite nice. I quite like it in there. The service can be
that's my favourite.
Not always so great, but Coasters is quite nice. The other places, I guess it's pretty standard. But then again, Merlin's food I've not tried much since it's changed over, but I've heard a few things about that. So
Woodcutters is good.
Yeah, well, I've not been for a while, but I'm going to Towers soon. But we'll see. But yeah, Coasters is quite nice. I think that's my favourite place.
Yeah, I agree.
When do you think
FY4's FY4 is quite nice for a beer as well, but yeah.
What beer do you have? What's your favourite beer when you go there?
If I go to Pleasure Beach, it would be a Ringwood beer or Hobgoblin.
Oh, Goblin Man.
Ooh.
What about you, Jamie?
That's-
Have you got?
Yeah, Hobgoblin, yeah, all the way. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely.
When do you think Pleasure Beach will get another new attraction? What do you think it will be? And I'm going to add to that. Where do you think they've got space to put it?
Round near where Impossible is, I think somewhere around that area. That's where I think it would go.
Is Impossible still running?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on it this year. Well, been through it this year, but yeah, I agree with that. Coasters is great for if you sit outside for the views of the icon. I do agree with that. But I don't know what Pleasure Beach would get. I mean, and what would they take out if they had to put a new ride in? That's the thing. I mean, if I had a choice, I'd probably take Ice Blast out or Skyforce, but
Would you not get rid of
or
Revolution?
Infusion, if I'm honest.
You could build something under Infusion if you just sort of excavate a bit. What would you like to see there then? If not what you think they'll get, but what would you like to see there?
Something like Loki, I guess, but I don't think you'll ever get a gyro swing there. But that would be probably I'd love to see something like that there, but maybe not quite as big as Loki. But
What was that, Jamie?
Is there something like Taron, like an Intamin Blitz? Well, I don't think that'll ever happen, but that'll be.
They could build that if they got rid of Infusion.
Well,
I'd love them to get rid of Infusion. It's so jerky and the strength, the way your head bangs around.
You're not a fan?
Oh no, I'll avoid Infusion by choice. I'll go on it if people want to go on, but I'll avoid it by choice.
Yeah, same.
So, would you say that's your least favourite ride at the whole park, or is there one that kind of gets at you more than that?
I get frustrated by Skyforce, but I think Infusion probably is my least favourite.
Oh, you're not a fan of Skyforce?
Well, I can never get the thing to turn. That's the thing.
Oh, you meant to just kind of use your body as well as swing the wings around. What's the most you've got then? Doesn't that tell you how many inversions you've got?
They did announce it last time I was there. They used to, but no, they've not tended to announce it much. But definitely don't get much.
Do you manage to do it at all, or is it?
A little bit, but not. I don't think I've had a full turn out of it.
I've never had a full rotation on it. As much as I've tried doing that, it's nothing. Failed.
I feel a bit. I miss. I can't remember what it's called now. The ride that was there before that. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
It evades me now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, it's a bit like Dante's Air.
Yeah,
I know the one.
But you wouldn't have got to go on it though. You wouldn't have got to go on it. Well, the first time you went.
No,
I don't think. So, do they still use the Funshine advertising, David?
They've got Mr. Funshine's logo on the entrance now.
So I was thinking about that today when I was thinking about the show, and I thought about all this hot weather and the glorious Funshine.
They don't do the shortbread anymore because the contract changed, I think, or the company that was making it decided to stop doing it. It used to be Mr. Funshine biscuits, didn't they?
What, they had his face on?
Yeah.
Was that before you first went? Because I know you were still recent times.
No, I've seen it in there.
Oh, you weren't tempted to buy it? You weren't tempted to buy it then?
I think I've had the shortbread before, but I haven't kept the packet or anything, so no.
So, we've talked about the coasters, but Jamie, what do you think about the more of the flat rides that are there? They're all right. They're not bad. A lot of flat rides I'm not very good at. For me, a coaster I'm fine with, but a lot I feel sick on actually. But no, there are some flats that I'm okay with there. Like I think the majority in like Nickelodeon Land, aren't they? I believe. But Ice Blast, that's probably my favourite flat ride there. Ice Blast. Have you been on that during Illuminations?
No, I haven't. No, but it's.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
Depends which way you're facing, but.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's.
There you go, Bling. That was the ride. It was.
Yeah, it was Bling. That was it. That was the first ride I ever went on there. The first time I ever went. We were waiting for the big one to open because it was where Skyforce is now.
I think one of the rides I quite like at Pleasure Beach that's not a coaster is Derby racing.
That is it. Is that the? It's like carousel, isn't it?
Yeah, the horse.
That is
it's the
insanely
one.
fast.
It is fast, yeah. And they've got the old organ there. I don't know. I always enjoy a ride on that.
Oh, yeah.
What about the ghost train?
Yeah, I quite like it. It's not bad.
Do you think it's a bit? I'm going to ask a question here that might upset some fans of Blackpool, but do you think outside of the actual facade, it's a bit generic? Because people go on about it and how classic it is, but I sort of feel like I've been on similar and I've been on slightly better of the same sort of ride.
I think, yeah, I seem to recall going on the one at Groneland in Sweden that was much better.
Oh, Groneland's amazing. Did it still have the? When did you go on it?
About 3 years ago.
Did it still have the bit where there's a bit in the dark and it feels like something's grabbed your arm?
Yeah, I'm sure I've got a feeling it did. Yeah.
Because that was brilliant. I mean, I got off topic there. There's a bit in the dark where were you sat on the right or the left? You sat on the right.
I think I was sat. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if it does it on the left. I sat on the right and I felt it, but I just thought nothing of it. And then I came off, and the guy who runs the park was there because it was like a enthusiast trip, and he kind of said, "Oh, did you get that bit where something touched your arm?" And I was like, "Oh, right, that was actually part of the ride."
Well,
but David seems to be looking at me bemused.
You got that special feature, did you?
Yeah.
I've not been on Dora. Dan's going on about Dora, but I've not been on it.
Dora's
I don't think
pretty
I'll be
good.
allowed. Are you allowed to go on it without kids?
Yeah.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, you are.
Right into the music, it's great.
What do you think about Nickelodeon Land?
I think it's okay, but I had a conversation about this pretty recently. It's like anything with kids. It's Nickelodeon's probably not the thing these days. You know, it's like Peppa Pig or Thomas or whatever. It's what's in fashion at the time. So you do wonder how much longer they can keep it as Nickelodeon Land. And
do you think they've looked after it?
I'd say it looks pretty clean, but like I said, I just feel a bit outdated because you don't really see like Nickelodeon. I don't even know if it was still a thing, but it's still like the old shows. But yeah, it does feel a bit like it needs updating a bit. But it's okay.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
Coaster Chicken says he learned so much on the Dora ride. I'm assuming it's educational. I know it's a boat ride.
Yeah, it's like
a tub ride. Yeah. I didn't think we'd spend a lot of time talking about that. What about the Nickelodeon Streak?
Yeah, I like that.
Do you think it was better before the retheme?
Not a fan of the pink colours, not gonna lie. Not a fan of the orange.
Yeah, I guess it was more historic back then, you know. I mean, now they've got a pub named after it, but it's I guess it's more historic back then.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk about Wallace and Gromit? I don't know if would be a ride that interests you.
I do like Wallace and Gromit.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's probably.
Why do you think the dark ride went compared to Well, I was a fan of Wallace and Gromit before the dark ride. Were you in the same boat? Did you think they did a good job of it?
I've watched the films. I mean, not for a while, but a few years back. Yeah, and I quite enjoyed it when I went round it. I thought it's well done. It is good.
Because it's a retheme of an old ride. It looks like. Because when I first went on it, I didn't have much knowledge of Pleasure Beach. I didn't realize it used to be a different ride, and I just didn't think it was. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was like a brand new themed ride for it. They've done a good job.
And what did you think of the River Caves the first time you went?
Interesting. They've got some interesting like scenes and music, and it's a bit random, but it's good. It's good. I like the River Cave.
Yeah, again, I think it's a bit random, but I think it's very nostalgic, and I think that's what it is.
What do you think about the drop on it?
It's so delayed. It's a bit short, but it's okay.
get surprisingly wet on it. Like drop sometimes. It's like wow.
You can do, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it turns out when you're in your boat. I guess, but it's.
Do we want to? We'll probably have some more questions coming while we do it. But do you want to have another go at another quiz, David? I know that's why you're back on the show this week.
Well, I suppose we'll have to, but yeah. No, we will.
Jamie probably doesn't know about this. Every week we have a quiz with some like park-related questions on it.
Ooh,
There's
okay.
10 questions, and you can work as a team, and then the score kind of gets saved. And it's I've got a scoreboard lying around somewhere with all the scores on. And last time David was on with Dan Marks, and he hasn't forgiven Dan Marks. They got 4 out of 10.
Oh, oh dear.
But this week they're all Blackpool questions.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
You don't have to rush the answers. There's not a time limit. But number 1, what year did Dora the Explorer's boat ride open?
You know, Jamie, or I'm going to have to guess.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea.
I'm going to have to guess then.
What should we say?
1997.
Well, for Dora Explorer's boat ride in Nickelodeon Land.
Oh, was it built for Nickelodeon Land? I don't know. Was it
hang
classic?
on, but I'm not...
Oh,
I'm talking about when it opened as Dora the Explorer. I don't know if it was about before that.
Maybe later than that, yeah.
2008.
Go on.
Do you want another guess, David? Is that what you're going for?
Oh, yeah, we'll go for that. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
No, it's 2011.
Oh. Close, not close.
Good start. Not.
Number 2, the big one opened in 1994, but in which month?
Oh, it's either May or June, Jamie.
Oh no, he's put the pressure on you now.
I think it's
50-50.
May. Actually, I think it's May. To be honest.
Go in May. Yeah, I'd say May. June feels a bit late.
Yes, right. It's May 28th.
Yeah.
Number 3, what colour is Infusion's track?
Ooh.
Oh, it's blue.
Yeah, you're steamrolling this, David. You're going to redeem yourself. What height is the big one in meters?
Oh, that's feet. Oh, shit. No, because that's feet. What did I?
Yeah, feet, but what is that in meters?
200. Yeah. We need a converter. Oh, hang on. No, that's in feet.
Well, tell me it in feet if you want. I'll let you have the answer.
Yeah, 240 feet.
40. Oh, yeah, 240. Yeah, I'd say. Why not?
That's not the answer I've got. But you're saying it as if I've got the wrong answer.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've got 213 feet.
Oh. I'm getting mixed up with stealth as well.
I'll give you another question for that, because you're making me feel like I've got the wrong answer, even though I have looked it up in many places. Okay. I don't know if they still do, but which soft drink used to sponsor Ice Blast?
Tango.
Yeah, Tango.
Yeah, I'll let you have that. Number 5, name the plane-themed flat ride in which you can learn to control your inversions.
Skyforce.
Does that bring back memories?
Painful memories of not getting a rotation.
Coaster Captures. His son's birthday is on the same day. Coaster Captures. Is that the son that you had to pretend not to know in the Smiler Single Rider Keyline? What is Icon's max speed? I've got an answer for miles or kilometers, so you can say either.
I've got a...
You can both have a guess if you want, and if one of them's right, I'll take it.
I'll guess about 40. It's not that fast though, is it? So 48 miles an hour, maybe? It doesn't feel massively fast.
I thought 55.
Yeah, I'm probably nowhere near.
I'm saying 55.
52.8.
Oh.
Ooh.
If it makes you feel any better, you've currently got the same amount you got right before, David, so you only have to get one more to beat it.
Okay.
Number 7, name the bobsled ride.
Is it
Avalanche.
Avalanche?
Yeah.
I knew what it was. But
He's redeemed
When?
himself.
Of course it is.
What year did Revolution open?
Oh,
it's
that's
the
like
19th.
70s, wasn't it?
It's the 70s, Jamie. I thought.
I thought it was. I think it's like late 70s.
Yeah.
19 late 70s. Oh no, it's definitely the 70s.
I think. I've got
70s.
I think 79, but
I feel for some reason
Or
I
is
feel
it
like
77?
74, but it's really off. I don't know.
Oh, now you've put doubt. What's
I
Well,
think
76.
79.
I could be completely wrong. 76.
No,
That feels too long.
I think
is that the answer you
79.
want?
That's what
Which
I'll
answer? Which answer? Which answer do you want me to
Go on.
take?
76.
Is that the answer we're going for?
What do you think? Are you happy with that, David? Or do you think it's a bit later?
Not convinced. I think it's 79, but I don't.
Do you want to go with 79?
79 then. We can do 79. I'm happy with that.
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
Yes.
very good.
You're steamrolling it, David.
Nice.
What year did Wallace and Gromit's Thrillermatic open?
That's Themeatically.
When was the film on?
That's when that ride actually opened. It's not when the ride it re-themed opened.
Oh.
So it'll be fairly recent-ish.
90s, do you think, Jamie?
No, it'd be more recent
That's
than
the
that.
actual mine, when it was the mine cart, right?
Oh,
Uh,
2000,
I don't know.
2004? 2000. I'm guessing, though. That's the thing.
Well, as actual Wallace and Gromit, not as the old ride.
Yeah, it's the Wallace and Gromit Thrillermatic.
I'll go with 2007.
Go for
Do you want to
that,
have a guess, David? You going for that?
No, I'm happy with that.
That's 2013.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow, okay. I didn't realise it was that recent. Fair enough.
And the last question I've got is, what's the height of Ice Blast?
Not gonna lie, I have no idea.
I've got a height. I'll tell you what. I've got a height in feet and a height in meters. I'll let you have the answer if you're within 5 foot or 5 meters of it.
But it's not.
I don't think it compares to the height of the big one. It's about a quarter of the height of big one, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Yeah. I don't know.
Thinking of I think about 90 feet, but I might be totally out. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly less, but
Less than 90 feet?
No, I'd say about 110 foot. No, I don't think
maybe it's not. Would it?
You might be surprised.
It's not that high, I don't think. Maybe 120 feet maximum, I think. But
yeah, should go with 120 then.
Yeah, go on.
The big one's like 213, isn't it?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so it's about. Yeah, go on.
That's the answer I tried to give earlier, and you said no, it's 240.
We learned.
Right, the height is 180 feet or 55 meters.
Really? Oh,
There we go.
because it looks different, I guess, to a coaster because it's just thin. But yeah. Oh.
River Caves is supposed to have inspired Walt Disney. What do you think? How much do you know about the? I don't know if you could say he's the original owner, but the guy who owned Pleasure Beach before, he was actually really good friends with Walt Disney, wasn't he? That's why he was allowed to keep Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So, the end of that, you've got 6 out of 10. So you've sort of redeemed yourself there.
Oh, 6 out of 10, yeah. That's better.
Yeah. So, yeah, you redeemed yourself after all that, because I thought if you go through that, you don't get more than 4.
Oh, God, no, I can't, no. course, we
So
haven't mentioned the Pleasure Beach Express, have we?
Oh, do you want to tell people about that? I feel like you're more equipped.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's quite a good, just quiet ride to sit on and just have a look round the park and see all the coasters moving, and you can get some good pictures if you time it right going round.
Do you think that's something that's missing from a lot of parks now?
I
Like
think
Chesterton got rid of their little monorail, didn't they?
Yeah, and to be honest, a lot of the seaside places used to have little trains, didn't they, and stuff, and you don't see so many around these days. So I think it is quite a good nostalgic factor for Pleasure Beach, and it's good for taking pictures if you sat on there and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame like parks are getting rid of like their old like classic trains and stuff like that. Like Alton Towers used to have one, and it's a shame like they couldn't just like keep it nice and looked after. I don't know, and but it's only just turned into a pathway. But it's a shame that like things like that, like it's just nostalgic. It's just one extra little thing that makes the fleet.
Thorpe used to have one, didn't they?
Yeah.
And a lot of seaside places used to have them that haven't got them now. But
I think you used to have a cable car at Pleasure Beach as well. It was like a cable car system, wasn't there, as well?
Yeah.
Oh, and they got rid of the cable car at Drayton Manor a few years ago.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. But what do you think's the most photogenic area of the park or ride?
Big one.
Ride, I would say the big one, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether the best pictures from in the park or outside. You've got when the illuminations are on, that you can get some great pictures of the big one. There's some good vantage points off a couple of the bridges from over the railway as well. You can get good pictures from distance.
I think when you're in the icon queue as well, and you've got like the Big Dipper and Big One, all those like layers of rides behind it. That view, I think, that's a
good one.
Quite photogenic.
What about so you wouldn't say stuff like in Nickelodeon Land or that big entrance bit, you know, where they got all that space and then you've got the Valhalla and everything.
There.
No,
I wouldn't say that's probably. Yeah, you can take some good pictures from there, but I don't think. No, I still think the big one and icon, what Jamie's just said, and also I think at the front of the Big Dipper, I think that's quite a nice picture as well.
Yeah.
In front of the station.
Have you visited during illuminations?
Yeah, I visited Blackpool a few times during illuminations.
Do you think that added to it for you at all, or was it not?
I think when it's dark, I think late night riding sort of adds to it. It can be a bit busier. I think there is a different atmosphere, and I do think just walking past the big one when it's all lit up definitely adds it for me. I always take pictures of it when it's lit up. So I do think it does add to it, to be honest. I think especially when I've recently been and there's not been a lot of atmosphere because they've not been busy. I'm hoping to go to late night riding later this year when it is illuminations. And I'm just hopeful that it's going to be quite not too busy so I can't get on anything, but a bit more of an atmosphere.
Are you tempted to try Enzo in the dark?
It's a good question, but probably not, to be honest.
Willing to pay £15 again.
Might do a multi-buy offer if you talk them into it.
Yeah.
What about you, Jamie? Have you been during the illuminations or night riding?
I think I have. Yeah, I think I've done the big one when the illuminations are on, which is pretty cool. But I think it was only like once. I've done like late night riding as well. That's pretty cool. The fireworks and all that. That's quite good. Yeah, definitely.
And we'll start to wind down here. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, type them in the chat. But what I was going to ask each of you, since it's a seaside location, are you an ice cream person or a cotton candy person?
I think it's ice cream.
Ice cream for me.
Yeah.
Do you get the chips in a bucket as well when you go there? Or I know that's a thing.
It is a thing there, but I mean, the thing is, I've lived near the sea all of my life, so for me, I take it for granted a bit, to be honest, living near the sea.
Yeah.
But definitely the ice cream.
Yeah.
Did you want to? I don't know if David. I don't know what your situations are with the social media, but if you want to mention any of your tags, David or Jamie.
Yeah, occasionally post stuff on Theme Park Escape with Dan. But yeah, that's about all I do, other than myself, where you can catch me on Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, well, same. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. I've got, like I said, a new YouTube channel which I've just kind of started up as well, called Phantasmic Adventures with a PH. So start doing some vlogging, and just like, it's not just like theme parks; it's general, just every outdoor place you can go to as well. And it's just like it's nice to get started on it.
Where have you been recently on that?
So we did Europa Park and
Oh yeah,
in the past couple of months. Yeah, so they're up on the old YouTube now. So would appreciate if we can have that checked out.
I'll get the link at some point, so I'll put it in the description for this video when it's all done. And next week we've got a few minutes left, so if anyone wants to ask any questions, they can. But next week we're having Coaster Chicken on, and hopefully he's gonna talk about his trip to Florida. And I don't think Jamie's watched this show before, but Jamie, there's an ongoing feud in the comments recent weeks between the Coaster Capturers and Coaster Tog about photography. Who's the best photographer?
That's
and I know Coaster Chicken does a lot of photography, so he's going to get his chance to have his say next week, I think.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to having him on. I've seen some of his vlogs as well. It's I think that'll be good. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up? It doesn't look like anyone else wants to ask any questions today.
Trying to think, to be honest.
Blackpool. Because usually when I do that, I then get flooded with loads of questions, and then I have to kind of get through them all quickly. But so I left enough time this time, but no one's done it. But yeah, when's the next time you're going to Blackpool?
July for me.
I have plans to go in October and closing weekend. That's when I plan to go.
Are you doing that Halloween event?
And that's the plan.
I'm open to as well.
Are you quite into your scare events then, David? Because you always seem quite laid back, like you wouldn't be up for that kind of thing.
I mean, I don't go to. I wouldn't say I go to loads every year and make the effort to go to loads, but. Like last year, I went to Ventura and did scare events, and this year I'm doing Pleasure Beach. I don't know what else I'm doing this year, but yeah,
They shout at you in Spanish over there.
Oh God, yeah, I can't understand half what they're saying. It was good though.
What about you, Jamie? Are you a fan of the scare attractions?
I am, yeah. Past few years, I've gotten into more and more, yeah. And there's still quite a few in the UK I haven't done properly, like Tully's. That's a big one that I want to try and get to as well. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. It's a good scare. I
think I'm a fan of them, but I think it depends where you go. I find that the scare parks in this country do, well, I suppose you expect it, but they do a better job than Merlin these days and theme parks in general. Although sometimes Merlin pull out of the bag. The first year they did the Attic, I thought it was good, and Darkest Depths as well.
Yeah, I think they're probably my two favourite ones that Merlin do.
Did you ever do anything like Boiler House?
I never did Boiler House. No, I think that was before I was really getting into theme parks. But no, I wish I had now if it was still a thing.
Are you going with David? Are you going with Dan to this rave?
No, I'm not. No.
I'd love to see some photos of Dan Raven.
No, I'm not going. No, I'm not going in July. It's likely to be October next. As much as I love going to Blackpool, and it's a good social as well, and it's not just about visiting the park when I go to Blackpool, it's about meeting people and the social side of it as well.
But yeah, I know you've not watched last week, David, when we were talking about that. You're going to watch it. Anxious Rider does talk about the creepy caves at Chesterton, so that's quite fun.
Actually, yeah. When COVID was on and we couldn't go abroad, creepy caves was actually out of the mazes I did at Thorpe Towers and Chessington. I felt that was my favourite one, creepy caves. The worst mazes was at Thorpe, but
when you say worst, do you mean the most intense, or that they weren't very good?
Just the quality, to be honest. Big Top was always quite good at Thorpe. I quite enjoyed that when it was there. But
But
I
yeah,
just
if you
find it gets so packed at Thorpe, and of course I went when it was Travellers Weekend, which probably
oh god,
added
no,
to
no,
the,
no.
and so I think with the general atmosphere as well. To be honest, that
A lot of people
weekend.
get hit on that week, I'm sure.
Well, I wasn't even aware it was on until someone messaged me to tell me, and I thought, oh really? But yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to mention, Jamie, before we wrap this up this week?
No, I'm pretty sound with that. I like it's nice to get the scare attractions in as well, getting them some recognition. But yeah, no.
But yeah, if you send me the link at some point, I'll put it in the description for this video for anyone who's watching on catch up.
Oh, we'll do that.
I appreciate you both coming on. David's redeemed himself, and it's good to see a new face, Jamie, on this week.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, hope to involved in more. It's
Yeah.
been really good fun.
But I'll see everyone
Yeah,
next
enjoyed
week
it,
when we
thank
talk to
you.
Coaster Chicken about he's got a massive beard and he's been to Florida, and that's all you need to know. Until next week.